Join me for a photo shoot in Los Angeles for a really fun client. This is a client that I've worked with before. We worked together in 2022 and we had a blast on this shoot. They have a really big team and they do cool, stylish, fun things for their business. So that's what we want the photos to reflect is their overall personality and how unique they are in their own industry. So this was a really fun shoot. A couple of years ago, we took the whole team out to Palm Desert, rented a house, brought in an amazing hair and makeup team to do everybody's hair and makeup. Everybody was styled and beautiful. And the shoot lasted all day. It was a photo and video shoot. It was perfection. And now it's 2 years later, it's time for an update because there are some new team members, and sometimes it's good to just refresh photos to update the look. We wanted to do a small shoot. It didn't need to be a complete rebrand. It needed to be something that complemented what we'd done before. We wanted to get the photos with the new team, but also we wanted to get individual headshots for new team members that matched the headshots that we did 2 years ago. Now, we are in a completely different location. We are still in Los Angeles. We're not going back out to Palm Desert. This definitely took some planning. I started with a location scout and I went at the time of day that we had planned to shoot. Now, we were on a pretty strict schedule. We also needed to be pretty clear pretty early on what time of day we were going to be shooting. I recommended earlier in the day or later in the day so we can get some soft sun instead of harsh sunlight at like 11 or noon or 1. That's when the sun is getting really bright and really heavy overhead. And of course, you can balance that with strobes if you're bringing in lighting. I had planned to bring lighting, but I would rather use the sun because that's what we did for their first photos and we wanted to keep everything similar.
All right, it is shoot day. Car is loaded. It never looks like a lot of equipment when I show you guys like this, but it is a lot of equipment when I set it up. Well, you know what? We'll do video today. It is shoot day. We are loading into the car. We are loaded into the car. It never looks like it's that much equipment when I'm loading in, but it is. But you know what? We're gonna set up today. We're gonna do a one strobe, a one light setup. We're gonna do a one strobe setup in the office when we're shooting inside, and then we're going outside to do a group photo with about 14 people. And we're gonna do a two light setup there, and we've got some hiccups, or not hiccups, we've got some things to work with. You'll see. Considering that I got no sleep last night, like no sleep, I tried to go to bed at 10 and I just tossed and turned all night. I feel pretty good. And I've only had like a normal amount of coffee. So I think I'll get one more.
I got to set at 7:45. It took me 15 minutes to unpack everything from my car, load it into my wagon, and get it up to their office where the founder was in hair and makeup. She was first getting her portraits in her office. For that setup, I wanted it to be very dynamic lighting. I didn't want it to be too bright and airy. I wanted it to have an editorial feel. We already had a lot of sunlight. I turned off the overhead light in the office because the overhead lights are different kinds of lights. Sometimes they're fluorescent, sometimes they're tungsten, and matching that in post can kind of be hard. So I always turn out all of the lights that are installed in the office, and I bring in my own lighting to fill what's necessary on top of what's coming in from the sunlight. Sometimes that's nothing, but sometimes that's a lot. And today it was a pretty good amount. So I just set up one strobe light and I used a sock on my umbrella to really, really soften it. It felt editorial, and that was what we were going for. So that took us actually just about 45 minutes because the founder of the company is such a natural on camera. Then I loaded everything back in my wagon, headed outside. We had picked specifically a spot outside that I had location scouted. I had sent over a few different ideas of places we could shoot outside, but the idea was to keep it a lush backdrop. We picked a spot that had a lot of greenery already, but it was against a parking garage. So you could kind of see some of the structure coming through a little bit of the concrete. But my client really liked that. She felt like it was a little bit industrial mixed in with the greenery. Going back to my strobes, I had planned to set up strobe lights. The sun was peeking out, it was already bright, but I still wanted to have those two strobes just in case the shadows were too shadowy. By then, we had the team set up and arranged on the grass, and the lighting looked awesome. Now, I want to point out that it was all grass everywhere, all greenery everywhere. And the thing about that is, especially when you're shooting with sunlight in it, the sun is going to bounce off everything. Well, any light that you have is going to bounce, but the sun is going to shine down and bounce off the ground back into their faces. And if it's green in front of them, it's going to bounce green back into their faces. That can be really hard to balance in post. So, what did I do? I took a seamless, I had about a 4.5 foot seamless that was just a white seamless, and I spread it out in front of them, in front of the group, and it worked so beautifully as a bounce. So this is me cleaning up. This is a seamless, and it's really just a 4.5 foot white seamless, but I spread it out all over here to have a bounce. I used it as sort of a bounce on the grass because I didn't want the grass to bounce and the green to bounce into people's faces. So we did that. That is what's left of my seamless. And then that's my stuff over there. The sun was bouncing off the seamless in front of them and giving them a beautiful glow light. So I didn't even need my strobes. It was fantastic. Oh, and of course, like the whole team is so gorgeous. The whole team looks like total naturals in front of the camera, and they're an absolute blast to work with. This was an incredible shoot day. Everything was running so well and so on time that we had a little extra time. So we played with some of the merch that they had that they were about to release. And we had fun with those shots. We didn't have a specific plan for them. So we just kind of got in front of the camera and said, what would be neat here?
Did I drop my camera on my lens? Yes, I absolutely did that. And it didn't break. Nothing broke. And of course I brought everything. I brought a million different things that we are packing up right now. It always looks smaller. Like when I'm packing it up, it looks like it's barely any equipment, but equipment packs up nicely, and it's not that hard to transport, especially when you have like a wagon. It's actually a really big wagon. But the lens did not break. Everything was fine. I just am frustrated with myself for doing that because I'm probably gonna have to buy a new lighting setup. One of my flash bulbs burned out, so I replaced that with the one that I have as a backup, and I went to buy another backup because the other one's probably gonna blow soon, and they don't make them anymore for this type of lighting set. This lighting set's really old, so I think I have to buy new lighting. I can't be dropping my camera because I can't buy lighting and a camera. That is a lot, so.
All right. I'm also new here on YouTube, so if you could help a girl out, do some liking, do some clicking. If you want to see more like this, please follow along. I would love to have you here. And of course, if you have any questions about how to get in front of the camera, how to produce a shoot, how to look good, how to do anything with a lens pointed at you, I'm your girl to ask. So don't hesitate to drop those comments. I would love to see them.